we go on to our next speaker, Dr. Hemlata Gupta, who's a senior consultant from the Center for Sight Group of Hospitals, New Delhi, a brilliant surgeon with exceptional skills, and we are sure going to like her teaching pearl. On to you, Dr. Hemlata. Can you share your screen? Yes. Dr. Ravi, you would be the next, and then Tushya. I don't see Dr. Jay.
I think Dr. Jay was here.
There, okay.
I did see his.
Start. Unmute yourself.
A very good evening to all of you. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Hemlata.
Thanks for having me here. So here is a case of subluxated cataract. This patient had post-traumatic subluxation of more than 180 degree with grade 3 nucleus crosses. So we decided to do femto laser cataract surgery for this patient, as we know that doing manual rhexis is really difficult in these kind of patients because of the lack of zonal countertraction. So we are doing this on Catalyst platform, where we have the option of custom centration and sizing. And the rhexis is really fast in this with Catalyst. So I started the surgery under peribulbar anesthesia. When I injected the viscoelastic in AC, you can see that there's a sudden bulge prolapse of the vitreous through the side port. So here we put trocar into the pars plana area, and limited dry vitrectomy was done to remove whatever vitreous was there in the area of zonular defect. So to enhance the vitreous strands, tripod was used. It was put through AC, and then vitrectomy was done. And once that was done, I'm removing the capsular already cut by the femto laser and making space for the CTR. And this is capsular tension ring being placed to stabilize the capsular bag. Now, once the capsular bag is stabilized with the ring, the removing or emulsifying the nuclear fragment is really easy because of the pre-fragmentation of the nucleus by femto laser. We just lift the pieces one by one and emulsify. And you can see that how deep the anterior chamber is. And we get the adequate working space, and we are away from the endothelium. So this is all happening because of the dry vitrectomy that we have done earlier. So after removing the epinucleus, we proceed to removal of the cortical matter, which can be a little bit of difficult because of the pre-placement of capsular tension ring. So repeated shallowing of the AC is what makes surgery difficult. What happens is then when we do IA, because of the irrigation, there is fluid migration into the vitreous that leads to hydration of the vitreous, and that vitreous pushes the whole of the capsular apparatus interiorly. So the simple solution is remove the plug from the trocar. Like you can see, we have removed the plug from the trocar so that when you are doing IA, there is egress of the fluid from the trocar cannula itself, and repeated shallowing of the AC is prevented. And then we place 3-piece IOL safely inside the capsular bag. And in the end, a little bit of with more anterior vitrectomy is being done through pars plana area, just to remove the residual vitreous strands from the area of zonal defect. We should not be doing over vitrectomy because that will lead to hypotony. And you can see a little strand of the vitreous is still there in the AC, which is removed with the help of cutter placed in the anterior chamber. So trocar is just simply taken out in the end without placing any sutures. And this is the day 1 picture with 6/9 vision, well-centered IOL, and clear cornea. So limited dry vitrectomy, it actually prevents the repeated herniation of the vitreous into the anterior chamber and deepens the AC and gives us adequate working space. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hemlata. That was a very nice video. Can you stop sharing your screen?
Yeah, sure.
See, there are these 2 questions which I have, which Hemlata and the expert panel could answer. Now, traumatic cataract is what she said. So assuming it was a non-progressive case, a CTR alone would have helped, though the area of dialysis was nearly 180. The other question is something which I actually have for all of us is, we all know that removing the cortex is a bit of a challenge in the femto cases, femto cataract platform, because of the vertical cutting of the fibers. But on top of it, when we put a CTR, I think that further adds to the challenge. I've never exactly thought too much about it, but what are your ways of dealing with a case of femtocataract with a CTR in place? And of course, what do you feel about just a CTR having been used in this case? Yes, Ajay.
Yeah, I would normally, what she has done, number 2 points, I would not put the trocar right in the beginning here, because I don't know how much vitreous is there, because the trocar pushing in there, the fluid going in, whatever vitreous is there, more tendency to come forward. I'd rather do an vitrectomy from the anterior side, not taking out too much, because if you're trying to pull the vitreous, it goes on coming. If you're putting a trocar, then go behind in the pars plana, cut it. Only just putting a trocar, fluid coming in, more vitreous, tendency of vitreous to come in. Now, anyway, so once you have done that, now putting in the CTR, the point she had was, well, I would do first a visco-dissection. I mean, instead of hydrodissection, a visco-dissection, take out a plane of cleavage between the anterior rhexis margin and the cortical matter, and then try to push the CTR through that. Once you do that, I think most of the time the CTR would go bisect the fornix area, and then you'd be having very little cortex which would be going around that CTR. So the removal would be easier in that case. And in this case, otherwise, it was very well done.
I think very nicely managed, Hemlata. The only thing I might have done differently is that not used a CTR in this place, but used a capsular hook. In the sense that, it was a traumatic cataract, and though it was definitely subluxated, there seemed to be reasonable support for the capsular bag. And more than a circumferential support, I think it was an anterior-posterior support in the area of the dialysis that was needed. And that would have been served well by 1 or 2 capsular hooks, better than putting in an endocapsular ring. I would have definitely placed the endocapsular ring after the evacuation of the cortical material and before the implantation of the intraocular lens. But the lens bag stabilization, especially now that you have an excellent rhexis created where femto, would have been much better with a capsular hook. And removal of the cortex and the epinucleus would have also been not a difficulty, because the endocapsular ring is not there. The second concept is, of course, for ages we have been putting this 3-piece lenses in the bag with the orientation of the haptics in the area of the dialysis. But nowadays, I think more of us are shifting on to putting it in the sulcus with the haptics in the sulcus with the optic capture. And this is supposed to stabilize the bag much more than even putting it in the entire lens in the bag.
So
Yes.
the point,
I wanted to make a quick
point
comment.
I think here is to prevent the repeated vitreous herniation. You must have seen in many of the cases when you're proceeding with your phacoemulsification or IEA, again the vitreous comes out. So we can either put viscoelastic in that area to push the vitreous back. So in this case, we are not doing the putting the infusion cannula. It's a single trocar. We are just doing dry vitrectomy. Like Dr. Ajay says that that can lead to hydration of the vitreous, but we are not putting any infusion cannula. It is a dry vitrectomy just to deepen the anterior chamber, and just sufficiently, I mean, just a limited amount of vitreous is removed. So what I feel is that has improved the surgery a lot in our experience.
Dr. Chitra, can I chip in with a quick comment? I just wanted to, everything is managed so beautifully and everything was done well. I just thought that at one point where we could have done something differently was that right at the beginning of the case, when you put viscoelastic from the side port, you chose to put it from the port, which was right where the subluxation was. So that actually ended up pushing the vitreous out of the other side port. Had you gone from the opposite side and pushed in this port, it would have...
Yeah, the problem is the subluxation was 180-degree temporal. So the other side is nose. So your side port
No, not the trocar. Not the trocar.
No,
I just
not
meant
the
that you
port.
could have side port. You could have gone from the main port to put viscoelastic. It doesn't matter. I mean, you already all you had to do was choose to go from the opposite side. so that, you know, the vitreous was pushed back. And most of the times you don't have to do much, even if the vitreous is coming forward. If you use viscoat to fill the chamber, and then, you know, it just kind of pushes it back and it goes behind. Even if you can see on the slit lamp that there is some vitreous coming anteriorly, if you put viscoat, you know, it'll push it back and it'll go back, it'll stay there. You can proceed with the surgery without doing a vitrectomy for most of the time. And when it starts coming back, you can again use viscoat again goes back. And you can do that 2-3 times, and you can actually sometimes get away without doing a vitrectomy and just putting a CTR in the end, and then, you know, it can be done. But if you use the viscoelastic from very close to where the subluxation is, it may actually push the vitreous towards the other ports, and that's why it might just come out from the other side.
And we also
I agree. The main port visco could have been put from the main port.
Otherwise, beautifully done.
And of course, the other important tip which Jay said, which we often do, but before placing a CTR, doing a visco dissection and then placing a CTR makes more sense. That was good, Dr. Jay.